Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol reveal. We might be getting a few days of these in a row here because it is currently Ministravaganza. Depending when you're watching this, of course, maybe it's shortly after. But yeah, we are on the first day of Ministravaganza. I'm currently recording this on the Thursday. Not sure yet whether this is going to come out very late on the Thursday or early on the Friday. It's going to be one of the two. But yeah, they revealed some really exciting things on the first day. So I figure what we're going to do is every day that they reveal new interesting things during Mini Extravaganza, we're going to go ahead and make one of these little breakdown videos. So we'll probably end up with 3 of them by the end of the event. So today was primarily a Legion day, actually, but they also spent a good amount of time on their other games and revealed some really, really exciting things for um, Marvel Crisis Protocol. So we're going to go ahead and start breaking that down, starting with this guy on the screen right now. Apocalypse. They've revealed the front side of his stat cards. Unfortunately, we haven't seen his flip side yet, and it is confirmed that there will, well, not necessarily confirmed, but it was stated that there will be something different on the flip side, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But let's go ahead and get into this here. So, first of all, he is coming in with 4-4-4 defensively as a 6 threat. There was a lot of talk about him potentially being a 7, an 8, or even higher, but they have decided to make him a 6 threat. He's going to have 7 stamina, which I mean, until we see his defensive tech and things like that, time will tell whether that's normal or not, and same for his flip side. He's going to be a size 4, so he's definitely going to be big, imposing, and menacing, as he should be, and a medium mover on, I want to say, either a medium or a large base, most likely a large base with the size 4 there. So he's definitely going to be fairly mobile. He's coming in with 2 attacks here. The first is Biomorphic Arsenal. This is going to be a range 3 7 dice attack. It costs you 0 power to use, and it is going to be a builder. You're going to gain power based on the damage that you deal. You're also going to be able to choose your attack type, and you can choose any of the 3 attack types for this builder, which is really, really nice. Helps you push through an extra damage here and there on some characters. In some characters, it's a really big deal where they might have fancy defensive tech for some things and not others. Next, he's also got this trigger here, Wild Cower Before Me. And this is a really, really cool trigger. It says after this attack is resolved, the target character either gains the shock or root condition. And if the target character already had both the shock and root conditions before the attack was chosen, throw it away small. Yeah, so any size small throw, definitely really nice to have, but you do have to put out 2 conditions. So basically, if you attack the same target 3 times and you get the wild on all 3, then he can throw them through that. But obviously, if you have teammates putting on the shock and root conditions for you, then he can just get the throw on a wild. So really, really strong builder right out the gate here. I mean, range 3 is already good. It's got 7 dice, so again, we're immediately hitting kind of like Hulk level builders. And then being able to choose the type is really, really powerful, and that's quite a solid trigger. Both of those conditions are really strong, and the throw is obviously amazing as well. His next attack here is En Saba Nur's Judgment. This is going to be an energy attack. It's going to be his spender, so it's going to cost him 3 power. It's only range 2, so you got to be a little closer for this one, but it is throwing 8 dice out, so not bad right out the gate here. And it says it adds 2 dice to the attack roll for each special condition the target has. So this already pairs really nicely with his builder, where you're throwing out 2 different conditions. And then, of course, if you have a team with more kind of condition handouts, you'll be able to stack this more and more on. I think this is going to be really brutal into things like Hulk, where, Hulk has a big health pool and no flip side. So between Apocalypse and maybe some other carefully selected models, you can easily put 2, 3, or 4 conditions on a Hulk. And suddenly, with 3 conditions, this is hitting as a 14 dice attack for 3 power, which is really, really strong. He does, of course, has a leadership. Or yeah, that is correct. My words are all over the place here. Apocalypse has a leadership. Surprise, surprise here. It is Apocalypse Horsemen. It is for the affiliation Servants of the Apocalypse. So we have confirmed. I think we already could kind of assume this, but he's getting his own affiliation. And it says when this leadership is chosen, this character is assigned the Master of the Horsemen card. Then you may assign the Death, Famine, Pestilence, and War Horseman cards to eligible Servants of the Apocalypse characters in your squad. No character may be assigned more than 1 Horseman card. So This is really cool. These are not tactics cards, and we're going to talk about what they are specifically later on, because all of these cards were revealed to us, which is great. But they also revealed a little bit about how this was going to work. So the Servants of Apocalypse is going to be an affiliation list like the normal ones that you've seen. However, they are also going to specify on that affiliation list, or maybe somewhere else, which horsemen they are allowed to be. Now they said every character on the list will have two different horseman cards they could select. So for example, one might be both death and war, and you get to pick whether you're using them as death and war. Now, of course, if you're not running four other characters other than Apocalypse, because he is a sixth threat, so that can sometimes be hard to squeeze in there. You don't have to use all four of them, and similarly, I don't think you're allowed to double up on them either, so you can't have, three Horsemen of Death. But that's what kind of is, that flexibility there is for, as this one can be death, but if you already have someone who's death, then maybe they can be war instead. So each of them will be eligible for two different horseman slots. So that's going to be really, really interesting. And I think the horseman stuff is really cool. So we're going to take a look through that, and we'll spend some time on that in this video as well. Next, we get into his superpowers. He doesn't have any active superpowers, but we'll talk about that as well. He does have celestial technology as a reactive superpower. This is going to be a 4-cost reactive that says during the power phase, choose up to 2 other allied characters within range 5 of this character. Each chosen character drops all of its objective tokens and is placed within one of this character. So a great way to kind of just zap your allied models close to him really, really quickly. This could be really nice if you have like bodyguard style models you want to keep him alive with, or you just want to get them into the fight quickly. You have, they maybe ran off and did some side pay to flips or something like that, and then Apocalypse went down the middle, and now you teleport them back in, and you're ready to go. So really, really powerful ability there that obviously you're just going to have to be careful with how you're using it, because it does drop their objective tokens, but a great way of just kind of bringing your team up the board, especially if you're going to have priority, and you can do a lot with having those characters teleported in. Next, he also has You Will Be Remade Through Me. This is a 1-cost reactive. When an enemy character within range 5 would gain a special condition that it already has, this character may use this superpower. The enemy character gains the Bleed, Shock, Slow, or Incinerate special condition instead. A character can be affected by the superpower only once per turn. So this is really cool. We haven't really seen this type of ability before, but throwing out conditions onto characters that already have the condition you're trying to throw out is obviously normally useless. So now there is a meaningful reason to do that. You get to have Apocalypse now say, well, I know this normally gives you bleed, but you're already bleeding. So what if you were on fire instead? Really, really strong, and I think is going to make Apocalypse and the Servants of the Apocalypse the definitive, what's it called, condition team in the game. Previously, it was kind of Strucker, but it wasn't amazing. I think Apocalypse is going to be able to do it much more effectively than Strucker ever was. So Apocalypse is going to be really interesting as kind of that role. And we'll talk about that more, because I think some of the other cards kind of play into that as well. But also playing into that, he has only the Strong Remain. After an attack against this character is resolved, if this character suffered damage, it may remove 1 damage from itself. Additionally, once per turn, when this character would gain a special condition it is immune to, it may either gain 1 power or remove 1 damage from itself. So really, really interesting. A few things to unpack here. So let's kind of split this into 2. First of all, after the attack against him is resolved, if he took damage, he gets to remove a damage. That's going to be really, really good against kind of chip things. It's kind of like a damage reduction, but you still gain the power for having taken the damage. So it's kind of better in that sense. It's worse in the sense of, if that damage would kill you, like perfectly, it doesn't actually save you because it kills you before you get a chance to heal. So it's going to be a very, very interesting ability. There's going to be things that play into it better than others. Interestingly, it's actually turned off by Grievous Wounds, which is kind of cool, but it does get around some anti-damage reduction techs, such as Namor. So really interesting that we're getting Namor right before Apocalypse gets revealed. Again, they've done this in the past where they'll reveal kind of like a counter to something before they reveal something really strong, as their way of saying like, hey, there is counters to this in the game. So really, really interesting to see that. But yeah, that's definitely going to be a really interesting and unique kind of not quite damage reduction superpower. I'm definitely curious to see how that's going to play out as time goes on. It also says, additionally, once per turn when this character would gain a special condition it's immune to, it may either gain one power or remove one damage from itself. Now, I would have to check, but I feel like a lot of the condition things are probably mays, so it's going to be interesting to see how many characters can just choose not to give him those conditions. But it definitely means you have to be careful with what type of characters are going to be attacking him. If they're handing out bleeds, incinerates, or stuns, you're going to want to keep in mind that he's going to heal extra off of removing those conditions, or he's going to be gaining power, which is obviously something you want to be careful of as well, because if you haven't noticed, nothing on his card actually generates him power except for his builder. So this is his only other way of gaining power. So definitely going to have to keep that in mind. Now, at first, that doesn't seem crazy strong, and I guess we kind of just lumped in what immunities he has, but he's immune to bleed, incinerate, and stun. Um, that part doesn't seem crazy strong right out the gate, but what does seem really, really powerful is they did mention, now of course this is just things that were spoken during the stream, not things that we have actually seen. So we're going to take this with a bit of a grain of salt, but it was mentioned that on his flip side he will be immune to all conditions, which is a little concerning if I'm going to be completely honest. I usually like that as kind of one of the answers to kaijus is just kind of condition them down. So if he's immune to all conditions on his flip side, I'm really curious to see how they balance that because that seems terrifying. And of course, if he also has the strong remain superpower, that would be really, really strong because there's a lot of characters who just kind of hand out a condition in addition to the things they're trying to do. Things that come to mind right away for me, just because I've played a lot of Midnight Suns, is Blade, who just automatically hands out a bleed on his builder every time he makes that attack. Obviously, he's, already not exactly a meta piece, but that's a rough matchup. So going to be interesting to see how they choose to balance that. But overall, looking at Apocalypse right now, he seems really, really cool. He hits like an absolute truck. He doesn't have much in the way of control, but he has all these kind of cool condition things, and he's already kind of pointing you in a direction for how to build a team around him. So I think he's going to be really, really interesting to do that with. But we have a lot more to go through here. So we're going to move on from Apocalypse and start looking at his affiliation things here. So the first one we have is the Master of the Horsemen. This is, of course, Apocalypse's card. And yeah, let's get into this. So it says once per turn during his activation, Apocalypse may use one of the active superpowers on any Horseman card that was assigned to an allied character by his leadership. So, the Horseman cards, spoiler alert, are all giving out different superpowers to the Horsemen that they're going to have in addition to the normal things on their card, and Apocalypse can use those active superpowers as well. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see. Basically, there are 4 superpowers not listed on Apocalypse's card that he may have in a game if you brought the right models with him. So that's really, really cool. When Apocalypse is KO'd, this card is removed from play after the effect is resolved. Makes sense. During the power phase, this card gains an evolution token. This card can have a maximum of 6 evolution tokens on it. Once per turn, while an allied character assigned a Horseman card is attacking, defending, or dodging, during the modified dice step, it may remove up to 3 evolution tokens to reroll 1 die for each token removed. So, okay, that seems fine. There's only 6 of those throughout the entire game as this currently stands, but we'll see that the other cards may or may not influence that as well. And then it says an allied character assigned a Horseman card may spend evolution tokens on this card as if they were power on its stat card to pay the power cost of superpowers on Horseman cards. So again, characters that have Horseman cards, including Apocalypse himself, because this is a Horseman card, can use the evolution tokens as power to pay for those active superpowers. So it's going to be really, really interesting with some of the models that may have access to some of those. So that'll be really cool to see. And of course, we have the art here, and it looks really, really cool. So awesome to see that as well. But now, of course, we got to see what all these Horseman cards are about. So the first one we're going to take a look at here is War. Now, War says the assigned character gains the following superpowers. Fury is the active superpower, so remember Apocalypse will be able to use this as well. This is a 2-cost superpower that says during the next attack made by this character this turn, if the target character is within range 2, this character may change one die result to a hit for each crit or wild in the attack roll. This is almost identical to the Warrior of Legend superpower that Valkyrie has. So yeah, this is just good. Obviously, this is even better if you have access to dice modification or just like larger dice pools. So Apocalypse himself will definitely get some good value out of something like this. Yeah, this is just good. This is a very good superpower to have access to. Obviously, there are only going to be specific models that are eligible to gain access to this, but depending who's on that list, this could be really strong. So we're going to have to see who is available for that. Next, we have the Horsemen of War. The first time each turn this character suffers damage from an enemy effect, and the first time each turn this character deals damage, after the effect is resolved, Master of the Horsemen gains an evolution token. So that is how we're going to be able to get more evolution tokens than the 6 per game that we are defaulted to. We'll be able to gain it any time whoever is the Horseman of War takes damage or deals damage pretty much the first time, once per turn effectively. Um, but that actually can be both too. If you like hit into someone who has a crackback, you could effectively gain 2 evolution tokens for that. So that's going to be a great way to generate some tokens, is by having your Horsemen of War kind of just interact with the game. So yeah, that's really good. But of course, Apocalypse doesn't get that part. He does just get the Fury part here, and he can pay evolution tokens to use that, and so can the Horsemen themselves. So you could effectively Fury 4-0 if you pay two evolution tokens for it. The next one we have here is Pestilence. Pestilence is given to, obviously, the Horseman of Pestilence, and it has the Consuming Blight superpower. This is a 2-cost that says for each enemy character within range 2, choose one of the following effects. If they have the Poison Root or Slow special conditions, they suffer a damage, or you can give them the Poison Root or Slow special conditions. Yeah, that's pretty solid. I definitely like that. I think it's probably one of the weaker of the bunch, but if you are going for a condition team, it suddenly becomes stronger and stronger, and it does work really well with Apocalypse himself. I'm gonna pay 2 power and give you a condition, then I'm going to punch you and give you another condition, and then for 3 power, I'm going to throw a now 12 dice attack at you. That's pretty good. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can kind of do with that. Or if they already have those conditions, just a great way of just being like, hey, 2 power, you were on 1 health and now you're not. Cool. So yeah, really good here. And then we also have Horseman of Pestilence. At the end of this character's activation, Master of the Horseman gains an evolution token for each enemy character that gained 1 or more special conditions during this character's activation. So again, great synergy with that. You hand out a condition with that. You put it on a model that's already handing out conditions themselves, and you can pretty easily get 2, maybe even 3 extra evolution tokens out of that. So really solid there. Next, we have Famine. This one has Vanish into Dust as its superpower, also a 2-cost. Choose up to 1 enemy character within range 2 of this character. If an enemy character is chosen this way, it loses 1 power. So cool, just zap a power off of someone. That's pretty solid. And then it says place this character within range 2 of its current position. This superpower can be used only once per turn. So it also has a Gamma Leap. This is really good, partially just for whoever has this, because Gamma Leap is a really powerful superpower, and for 2 with an extra effect, yeah, that's really good. But also, Apocalypse can use this. That's going to be really good. That gives him mobility, which was one of the big things he was lacking on his card here. So yeah, Gamma Leap Apocalypse is definitely going to be a thing, and potentially a free Gamma Leap if you have the evolution tokens for it. So really good there. Next, there is the Horseman of Famine ability. This is, of course, its way of gaining evolution tokens. It says at the end of this character's activation, if no non-dazed enemy characters are within range 3 of it, the Master of Horsemen gains 1 evolution token. So basically, if you have dazed everything within range 3 of you, you give 1 token to the card. That is probably the weakest of the 3 ways of gaining evolution tokens. A, because it's a bit of a win more, You've already dazed everything within three of you, or you've just run away or something like that. Um, B, because it's only ever going to be one per round, so that's probably one of the weaker ones so far, but still solid way of gaining extra ones relatively consistently. If you really know you're going to need one, just like move away and chill out of range three of people. So it's going to be very consistent, but unfortunately, it is a little slower than the other ones. Next, we have Death, and this one says created to end. This is actually a 3 cost power. I think all of the others were 2. It says during the next attack this character makes this turn, add 1 die to the attack roll for each damage the target character has to a maximum of 3. This superpower can be used only once per turn, so you can add up to 3 dice to your attacks. This is going to be really, really good on models that already have things like rerolls or counting blanks or something like that. Definitely a really nice kind of thing you can use. Also has an interesting synergy on Apocalypse himself. If you use this combined with the, I want to say it was War ability to change your die results to hits for crits and wilds, that's going to be a really, really good little synergy if you use both of these on the same attack. You're getting extra dice, so increasing the odds of those crits and wilds. Definitely going to be a really cool combo, but a little bit of an expensive one, costing either 5 power or evolution tokens or some combination of the two. Lastly, we have Horsemen of Death. Once per turn, when another character is dazed or KO'd by this character, or this character is dazed or KO'd, after the effect is resolved, Master of the Horseman gains 3 evolution tokens. This is going to be really good if this model is going to be, whoever your Horseman of Death is going to be reasonably consistent at being able to finish off kills, and of course they'll gain 3 for you when they are themselves are dazed or KO'd as well. So that's a nice little deterrent for your opponent to attack them. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a solid one as well. I think all 4 of these are really good in their own way. I think personally Famine is probably one of my favorite of the actual active superpowers. Well, I think it has probably the weakest of the passive ones, but I think they're all really interesting in their own way. I think Horseman's probably one of the most consistent and faster passive ones. I think Pestilence could be really, really good for that as well. Yeah, I think they're all going to be really interesting in their own way. So I'm excited to see how they're going to interact with each other on the table in the in the actual affiliation, and of course which models are going to have access to them. We already know Archangel is going to have access to Death, and I believe it was heavily implied that Wolverine will as well. Also on the card art is Gambit, so that is potentially 3 different characters that could be the Horsemen of Death. But there could be a lot of different options for some of these other ones here. So we'll have to see what they end up going with. I'm not going to get too speculative in this video because I have a feeling we're already going to run it a little longer than I want it to. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next reveal here. So the next card they revealed is Archangel. They've only given us the front side so far, and I have a feeling at least something is going to change on the flip side. But yeah, this is really exciting. I actually already have a 3D printed model for Archangel ready to go. So as soon as they give us the flip side of his card, I'm going to be able to get a battle report with him out for you guys. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but we'll see, because I don't think we actually got a date yet for when Archangel is supposed to hit shelves, but we'll see. So, of course, we have Archangel. He is going to be a 4 threat, coming in with a 4-3-4 defensive line, so nothing too fancy there. Only 5 stamina, so a little on the lower side, and this is the thing I think they're most likely to change on his flip side, is he's going to end up being a 6 or 7 on the flip side to make up for the lower front side here. He's a size 2 and a medium mover, but keep in mind he is on a medium base, so medium base, medium move is still pretty fast, even though you might have expected a long on him. I think they were just hesitant to do the long move medium base because that is immediately a safe grab, and that's just really strong. So they're being careful with him, and I can appreciate that. The first attack he has here is Razor Wing Strike. This is a range 3 5 dice physical attack. He's going to gain power equal to the damage dealt, and it has 2 triggers here. The first one is, oh, I'm going to butcher this word, so I'm not even going to try. It's a wild trigger, and the first word is toxic. After this attack is resolved, for each wild in the attack roll, the defending character gains one of the following conditions: bleed or poison. So this is going to probably end up being a rules forum thing, but I wonder how that interacts if I roll, say, 4 wilds and I want to give them, or, oh, okay, his actually might be once per turn here. Yeah, once per turn. Okay. if I roll 3 wilds and I want to give them both the bleed, poison, and then try to give them bleed again to give them incinerate, pretty sure that is how that would work. So that'll be really, really interesting, and a solid synergy with Apocalypse, who we're like 99% sure he's going to be affiliated with. So really, really nice to see that there. He also has the crit overwing trigger. After this attack is resolved, place him within one of the target character. This is a must trigger, so keep in mind that sometimes you can accidentally put yourself out of position by doing this. So you're just gonna have to be somewhat careful with that, and make sure you're okay with the place if you do get it. Next, he has the Avatar of Death. This is going to be a range 3, 7 dice, 3 cost attack. It's going to be physical, and it has the Wild Trigger Neurotoxin. After this attack is resolved, the target character gains the Stagger condition. If the target character has the Bleed and Poison conditions, and it does not have an activated token, it instead gains an activated token. Wow, that is really good. I hadn't actually read that attack until now. Um, 3 cost with a wild stagger on a solid amount of dice that can also just give an activated if you manage to get 2 wilds off of a builder or had another model set it up. Um, yeah, I'm sticking by what I said before that Servants of Apocalypse is going to be a very strong condition faction. That's incredibly strong. That's very good. I'm a little scared to play against that. That is scary. That's definitely spooky. I know the argument can be made, Black Cat can do it for 2 power, but Black Cat can also only do 1 damage with that attack, so it doesn't feel quite as bad. That's also probably going to do not insignificant damage and can give out an activated token, which is crazy. That's going to be really strong. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. He also has a charge here. This is a 2 cost charge, so relatively standard here. He gets to make a move followed by an attack. It's going to be really good. I already saw someone mention running him in Steve Avengers, make that a 1 cost charge that you can do turn 1, and I absolutely love it. That's great. I'm definitely going to try it myself, so really, really cool there. He's also got the active superpower Wing Shield, which should be reactive because that is not an active superpower, but it is a 2 cost that says when this character is targeted by a physical or energy attack or is making a dodge roll, because everybody's vibranium shield needs to be better than Steve's, it may use this superpower. Add 2 dice to this character's defense or dodge roll. So yeah, that's really good. That's going to help him a lot on that weaker energy side there. Working against dodge is really, really nice. I joke, but I just wish Steve had something like that as well. But yeah, that is a really nice superpower. Gives him a little bit of extra defensive tech. Is definitely going to go a long way with that. Only having 5 health on the front side there, he's definitely going to appreciate that. Then he has Chosen of Apocalypse. When this character makes an attack, it may change 1 die result to a hit for each wild in the attack roll. This is the same as Deadliest Woman in the Galaxy, I believe, which is Gamora's superpower, and is kind of just a passive but technically weaker version of Fury, or Warrior of Legend, as Valkyrie has it. It applies to all of his attacks, not just the range 2 limiter that Fury has, so that's valuable. But yeah, it's for every wild you roll, you're getting an extra hit. Really good for dice consistency. Definitely really good if you can also stack some rerolls and things like that in there, which again you're going to get from that Servants of Apocalypse leadership. Lastly, he has flight, which I mean, I would hope so. So no shock there. But yeah, Archangel looks really good. He's definitely on the squishy side, but he does some crazy good things. And honestly, seeing that spender, seeing Chosen of Apocalypse, I might take back what I said about he probably has more health on the flip side. I still wouldn't be surprised if he does, but I think he's allowed to be very squishy if he hits as hard as he does and does these crazy good extra things there. Um, yeah, we're gonna have to see. I'm excited for when they reveal his flip side because I want to see how they've bounced around this. So it'll be curious to see what they did with him. But yeah, really really interesting here. But we do have one more reveal, and that is the Apocalypse Ultimate Encounter stack cards here. Now we only have the first evolution and the fourth evolution. I think it's implied that there's going to be 2 more stages in between them, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking about these ones just because They are ultimate encounter cards, which I know not as many people are interested in, but I will go over them quickly. And obviously, I don't think we know much about how the actual ultimate encounter works yet, but we'll find that out eventually, I'm sure, as well. So he is coming in with 3/3/3 defensive stats. He's a size 4 in, I would assume, all of his forms. He's a medium mover, and he has 7 stamina in this first form here. His builder attack here is actually almost the exact same as his regular builder attack there, but it is one less die, and it doesn't have the ability to throw if they're already shocked and rooted. So that's going to be interesting. He's got the same spender as well, but it is also one less die here. So that's again slightly weaker than it was in his regular card, but he also has this extra attack here that is Cull the Weak. This is a 4-cost physical attack. It's an area 2, 7 dice attack that says before choosing any targets, he chooses its attack type and he can pick any of the 3. He has Celestial Ship as his first active superpower here. This is a 4-cost. It takes him an action, but it places him within 5 of his current position and then lets him make an attack action. The superpower can only be used once per turn. So this is basically the best charge in the game, which, you know, it's an ultimate encounter, so they can do that. Yeah, place within 5 and make an attack. Sure. He's going to go wherever he wants and he's going to hit like an absolute truck. That's really, really good. He also has the first one. At the start of the Cosmic Threat player's turn, if this character has a Daze token, it removes all damage and the Daze token from itself and adds an Exhaustion token to the dashboard. If there are 3 Exhaustion tokens on the dashboard, the Crisis team wins. So it looks like dazing him 3 times will be how this Ultimate Encounter ends. I don't think we know much more about the Ultimate Encounter right now other than that, so we'll see what kind of other factors might play into that, I'm sure, as that gets revealed. He also has the evolutionary advantage. He gains 1 extra power at the start of his activation. Very, very useful for him. And then he also has the Only the Strong Remain ability here, which is the exact same as it is there. That's his healing after taking damage and when he would double up on conditions. But he also has this immunity special conditions, which is something we have never seen before and terrifies me for what I heard is going to be on the flip side of this one. Because, I mean, they've done it in the Ultimate Encounter, so I guess it's believable they would do it there as well. We'll have to see. Then we also have the 4th evolution version of him here. So this is his Endgame mode here. He's coming in with 6/6/6 for defensive stats, so doubling from his first evolution. And I can probably be assumed that every evolution gets a little bit stronger. So obviously we're kind of seeing the beginning and the end, and we can kind of guesstimate some of the middle grounds here. So he's coming in with 10 stamina now instead of the 7 he had over there. Again, very reasonable that, you know, 8 and 9 are the other 2 versions. And then his attacks are a little bit modified as well. So the first attack here has gone up to 8 dice, so now more than the regular version of Apocalypse. And his trigger is back to the full trigger there as well. His mini spender here is still 3 costs, but it now starts at 8 dice, which I believe is the same as the regular one, but it adds 4 dice for each special condition the target has, which is crazy. Then he has Cull the Weak here still. This has gone up to an area 3 attack and is an 8 dice attack now, still costing him 4, so yeah, really, really strong there. Celestial Ship has gone down to a 0-cost superpower, so yeah, that's just a free range 5 place followed by an attack. Sure. He also gains the You Will Be Remade Through Me. Each time an enemy character within 2 gains one of the following special conditions. This is a should be a reactive superpower, but 0 cost. Bleed, Shock, Root, or Incinerate. This superpower can be used. Wait, never mind. This shouldn't be reactive. I was reading this wrong. I was thinking each time an enemy character within 2. No, it's just each enemy character within 2 gains one of those conditions. That's just good. Okay, cool. Once per turn, of course, for very good reason. But yeah, just a great way of throwing out a bunch of conditions. That's really good. He has the first one, which is the exact same as it was over there. And then Evolutionary Advantage, he's now gaining 4 at the start of his activation instead of 1. That's really strong. That's going to keep him rolling quite well. And then he also has Only the Strong Remain. That doesn't look like it's changed at all. And he's still just immune to all special conditions, which is really, really good. Yeah, that is definitely an ultimate encounter character. Really, really curious to see what they're doing for the actual encounter there. It's going to be a really interesting one, I think. The apocalypse is something that a lot of people have been really, really excited for, and I know there's kind of a lot of people are really excited about the ultimate encounter form too, and getting that more narrative kind of here is just a stupidly powerful apocalypse. Go. Um, so definitely looking forward to seeing what they're going to be doing with the rest of the encounter and how it actually plays out. Obviously, I think Apocalypse's goal is kind of to get to that fourth evolution. They were even saying during the stream for when they were showing this off, they're like, should the fourth evolution just be the game ends? And they were like, no, no, let them see what they have allowed to be created and let Apocalypse run rampant. But it kind of sounded like if he gets to the fourth evolution, he's basically won the game, and now you're just getting to throw dice and murder everything. So that's kind of cool. I like that they're very open in the, this is an ultimate encounter. It doesn't have to be the most well balanced thing. This apocalypse will just slap things, and I'm very okay with that. I think that's really, really cool. But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting reveals here, and we're gonna have 2 more days. There's a lot to come. I'm really, really excited to see what they're going to be showing us for the tactics card roundtable, which I think is tomorrow. I might be mixing up the schedule here. But then there's also the roadmap, which I'm really, really interested in as well. So I'm going to be covering all of that here. Definitely going to be making another video like this one as soon as we get more interesting things like these, whether they're showing us new tactics cards or rotations or whatever, any of the things that we're hoping and expecting to see this mini extravaganza. All of it's going to be covered right here. So if you are interested in kind of getting a breakdown of some of that stuff, definitely feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be throwing out a few of these, and of course, it's coming on a weekend when I have a bunch of content coming out anyways. So gonna be some weird like double upload days, but that is what it is. This is really exciting stuff, and I don't want to wait on it, and I don't want to kind of push you guys to wait on it either if you usually follow my breakdown stuff. So obviously I'm trying to get this out as quickly as I can. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. How are you guys feeling about Apocalypse? How are you feeling about Archangel and all of the Horseman cards? I think they did these really cool. We'll see. I'm not too worried right now about balance and stuff like that. We'll see how they actually play once that comes around. But I think this is a really cool way of doing things. This is definitely like if I had to kind of wish list how they were going to do it, this is how I wanted them to do it. Was here's like a couple abilities that these characters will get for the different things. So I love that this is the route they took. I think it's really, really cool. And yeah, I'm just excited to see, who's going to be on these lists, who's going to benefit from these, and how it's going to play on the table, because it's definitely a really interesting way of doing things. And in my opinion, the perfect way to capture this sort of thing. Archangel also looks really cool. He looks really, really strong. I think he's going to be really good, but he is quite squishy. So we'll have to see how that plays out when his flip side comes around. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are still excited for the rest of Mini Extravaganza. I'm very, very curious to hear what everybody is thinking right now. But that is going to do it for this one at this point in time. It is getting relatively late at night, so if I want to get this uploaded for a reasonable time, gonna have to close things off here. But hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do drop a like down below. As I said before, subscribe if you are new to the channel and you want to continue seeing the updates through Mini Extravaganza. We also do battle reports and things like that on the channel. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, feel free to join on in. But that's going to do it for me. So until next time, have a great day, everybody. Peace.